I thought my friends were playing pranks on our camping trip. Then one of them pulled out photos of us sleeping, and I realized the game had been going much longer than any of us knew. This happened last summer near Spokane, still messes with my head. Me and two friends, Quinlan and Destin, decided to drive out to Riverside State Park for a weekend camping trip. We'd been planning it for weeks, just needed to get away from everything. The drive should have taken 3 hours, but Quinlan was behind the wheel and missed the turnoff around midnight. We were exhausted, laughing about nothing, eating cold pizza we'd bought earlier. Destin had grabbed a Red Bull from some gas station before we left town, kept us wired. We pulled into this gravel parking lot to sleep in the car because the campsite gate locked at dusk. None of us wanted to wait till morning, so at 2:10 a.m., we just said screw it and set up camp anyway. The park was dead silent. No wind, no animals, nothing. Quinlan swore he locked the cooler with our food inside. Had this cheap padlock on it, the kind you get at a hardware store for $5. We all saw him do it before we passed out in our tents. When I woke up at dawn, the padlock was cut clean through. Half our food was gone. Not torn apart or scattered like an animal would do it. Just taken. Maybe a bear? Destin said, but he didn't sound convinced. Bears don't use bolt cutters, I said. We were pissed, but figured maybe park maintenance or something. Tried not to think about it. Then things got weird. Around 4 a.m. that second night, I woke up because I heard footsteps crunching on leaves. I looked out through the mesh of my tent and saw a flashlight moving between the tents. Slow, deliberate. I called out, thinking it was Quinlan or Destin messing around. No answer. The light clicked off. I didn't sleep after that. Morning came and Destin's phone was sitting on the picnic table. He'd left it there the night before. When he checked it, there was one new photo in his gallery. It was a picture of our camp, taken from up in the trees. You could see all 3 tents, the cooler, everything. What the hell? Destin kept saying. Who took this? None of us had an explanation. Then Quinlan found the arrow. Someone had drawn it in the dirt with a stick, pointing directly at my tent. Just a crude arrow, but it was fresh. Hadn't been there the day before. We went to find the ranger on duty. Old guy, looked half asleep. When we told him what happened, he just shrugged. Probably night hikers, he said. Get 'em passing through all the time. Night hikers who steal food and take photos? I asked. He didn't have an answer for that. We should have left right then. But we'd paid for 3 nights, and honestly, none of us wanted to admit we were scared. That afternoon, we found more stuff. Footprints in the mud that went around our campsite but never through it, like someone had been circling us. Then Destin discovered our missing beer bottles stashed inside a hollow log about 50 feet away. And there was this scrap of fabric snagged on a tree branch. Navy blue, same color as the shirt Quinlan had been wearing. I didn't go near those trees, Quinlan said. Then how'd your shirt end up there? Destin asked. Things got tense after that. We'd been friends for years, but suddenly everyone was suspicious. Quinlan and Destin started whispering to each other. Wouldn't tell me what about. I felt like I was going crazy. By the 3rd night, nobody wanted to sleep. We just sat around the fire, watching each other. Destin started acting strange, walking off toward the creek without saying anything. Quinlan had to go get him twice. Said Destin didn't even remember leaving. You sleepwalking now? I asked. I don't know, Destin said. He looked exhausted. The worst part came around 1 a.m. We were all sitting there, and I finally asked what the hell was going on. "Something's not right with one of us," I said. Quinlan got quiet. Then he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a key ring. On it were 3 small keys. "I wanted to see how far I could push you," he said. His voice was calm, too calm. He tossed a stack of photos onto the ground between us. I picked one up. It was me, asleep in my tent. The angle was from inside the tent, right next to my head. Another photo showed Destin's tent zipper, halfway open. Another showed all of us sleeping. "What the fuck, Quinlan?" Destin said. "It was just an experiment," Quinlan said. "Wanted to see if you'd turn on each other." I felt sick. This person I'd known for years had been sneaking into our tents, taking pictures while we slept, staging everything. We packed up and left that night. Didn't say another word to Quinlan. Haven't spoken to him since. I still don't know what he was really doing. What kind of experiment needs photos of your friends sleeping? And the weird thing is, sometimes I wonder if it really was just him. Because one of those photos, the one from the trees, was taken before any of us even set up camp. I never thought a simple weekend getaway with coworkers could turn into something that still keeps me up at night, checking locks twice. It started innocent, but secrets have a way of ripping people apart without a single drop of blood. That's what happened to us. Hey, my name's Kieran. I work in tech support at this mid-sized company in Seattle. Nothing fancy, just fixing computers and dealing with dumb user errors all day. Last year, around spring, our team lead, this guy named Zoltan, yeah, his parents were from Hungary or something. He got this idea to do a team bonding trip. Unplug from the world, he said. Get back to basics. We all nodded along because, well, who says no to free camping? There were 6 of us. Me, Zoltan, Elowin from accounting. She always wore those big hoop earrings that jingled when she typed. Then Thaddeus, our sales guy who talked too loud. Bexley, the quiet designer with tattoos up her arms. And Harlan, who was new and kinda awkward, always spilling his coffee. We drove out from Seattle on a Friday afternoon. It was a long haul, about 6 hours east into the Cascades, to this remote plateau near Wenatchee. Not some fancy national park, just a spot Zoltan found on an old map app. Wide open, flat top with scrubby pines around the edges, and a killer view of the valleys below. No cell service up there naturally, but Zoltan made this rule. Each night, we lock our phones in a metal box he brought. To reconnect for real, he kept saying. We laughed about it, set up tents, built a fire. I remember roasting hot dogs that first night, and Elowin burned hers black. She joked about how her cat back home probably knocked over her plants by now, leaving dirt everywhere on the carpet. Saturday was chill. Hiked a bit, played cards. Thaddeus told this story about how his old apartment had floorboards that squeaked like crazy whenever his dog chased shadows at midnight. We all shared dumb stuff like that. But that night, a thunderstorm rolled in. Big one, with wind whipping the tents and rain pounding like it wanted in. We huddled in the big communal tent Zoltan set up, passing a bottle of cheap whiskey around. That's when the game started. Someone, I think it was Bexley, but her voice was low in the dark, whispered, "I know a secret about one of you." She said it was something expensive, something hidden. A dare. If we lost at rock, paper, scissors, we'd share a small truth, or she'd spill at dawn. We all chuckled, nervous-like. Bullshit, Thaddeus muttered, but he played anyway. First round, Harlan lost and admitted he once faked sick to skip a meeting. Small stuff. Then Elowen shared she borrowed office supplies without asking. It felt fun, like Truth or Dare from high school. But the whispers kept going as the storm raged. Zoltan won around and teased about that expensive thing again. I thought it was just messing around. By midnight, the Dares got traded for more secrets. I lost once and said I'd ghosted a date last month. No big deal, right? But something felt off. Wait, no, not off. Just weird, like the air got thicker. Morning came slow. Sun poked through clouds, but the ground was muddy. We made coffee over the fire, and that's when Bexley found it. A torn receipt under her pillow in her tent. From a hospital in Seattle dated months back, for some procedure she never mentioned. "What the hell?" she said, her face going pale. We all stared. She swore she didn't bring it. Then Harlan dug in his sleeping bag and pulled out a typed letter. It detailed a private chat he'd had with his ex, word for word, from like 3 months ago at a bar in Tacoma. Stuff about money troubles he hid from us. Panic started bubbling. "Who's doing this?" Elowen asked, her earrings jingling as she shook her head. Zoltan suggested it was a prank, maybe one of us sneaking around. But no one fessed up. We searched tents, found nothing. The game from last night suddenly wasn't funny. Thaddeus accused Harlan, saying the new guy was sketchy. Harlan shot back, "Screw you, I spilled my coffee this morning on my shirt, see? I'm not hiding shit." We laughed weak, but tension hung there. By afternoon, more notes appeared. One in my backpack. A printout of an email I'd sent, complaining about Zoltan to a friend. Private as hell. I felt exposed, like someone had been watching my screen at work. We gathered around the fire again, no storm this time. But the plateau felt smaller, pines closing in. Secrets became currency. Zoltan admitted he'd fudged some reports to look good. Elowen confessed to a fling with an old boss. Slow, like pulling teeth. Bexley broke down, saying that hospital receipt was for an abortion she never told anyone. Thaddeus shared he'd stolen ideas from a coworker for a promotion. It was surgical the way it unfolded. No yelling, just quiet admissions. Harlan revealed he'd lied on his resume about a degree. I owned up to spreading a rumor about Elowen once. Just petty office crap. But each one chipped away. Trust? Gone. We eyed each other, wondering who knew what. Who was pulling strings? No one declared themselves. Dares turned to demands. Tell, or it'll come out worse. I remember thinking, stupidly, that if I just admitted more, it'd stop. Flawed logic, yeah? But fear makes you dumb. Night fell again. We sat silent, fire crackling. I noticed how the wind through the pines sounded like whispers. Elowen mentioned her grandma's house had a clock that ticked uneven, always made her jump as a kid. Random, but it fit the mood. Then, final confession, Zoltan, our leader, broke. He said he'd organized the trip to expose us, but wait, no. He admitted to embezzling small amounts from the company fund. We gasped, but was he the one? Notes said otherwise. Morning, we packed fast, pinned to the phone box. A note. You asked to be real. Phones unlocked. We drove back to Seattle in silence. No one spoke. Back at work, HR complaints flew. Apologies whispered in halls, but damage stuck. Promotions stalled for Thaddeus and me. Friendships iced over. Elowen transferred departments. Bexley quit. Harlan? He vanished, moved on untouched. We cataloged it all, how easy it was to weaponize secrets. Who did it? Never found out. Could have been any of us, or someone outside. Still wonder late nights if my emails are safe. That plateau? Never going back. Secrets linger, you know? They do. My name is Jareth Klein. I live in Asheville. I'm telling this like it was a memory. Me and two friends, Tova and Rafe, took a tiny cabin near a trail by Flagstaff because the official camp was full. The listing had one Instagram photo and no frills. Fine. First night, a man in a weathered trailer next door waved and brought banana bread. He said his name was Olden. He smiled too much and walked like he had all the time. He brought matches, wood, and once left a six-pack on our porch. We said thanks. At first, his help felt kind. Then small things changed. We left chairs outside before a walk. When we returned, they faced the trees, not the fire. Tova said, "Weird." Rafe laughed. I did not laugh. A man was at the water pump when we got there. Later, he stood on the road like he waited for us. He showed up about 15 minutes after we left. It felt like a pattern. One dusk, I tried to take a picture of a deer. I pressed the shutter. Later, the memory card was wiped clean. No photo. I checked it more than once. Gone. Small things kept moving. A towel missing one morning. Soap gone. Toiletries rearranged. The lock on the door had faint scratches. I remember the floorboards creak when I walked. I said, "You hear that?" Tova mumbled. Rafe said, "Old place." Olden started reminding us about rules and which path was private. He fingered the keys on his belt and watched our car. His radio worked on a walkie channel that others never used. Once a voice said through it, "You should not be here after dark." We turned it off fast. A handwritten card slid under the door. It read, "People leave things when they leave. I keep things safe." It was signed with one initial. Rafe kept that card in his pocket and rubbed it a lot. The picnic bench had initials burned into the wood. Not ours. A new burn mark showed up. We found a towel under the porch that wasn't ours. The small changes felt like someone taking pieces of our privacy. After a long hike, we found a scratch near the gas cap of the car. It looked like a key mark. The way Olden toyed with his keys fit in my head. I took the radio once while he was away. Static, then a whisper. "People leave things. I keep them." I set it down. Rafe said, "Don't make it worse." At night, we heard soft steps outside. Tova woke me and whispered, "Go look." I put on jeans and walked out. There were lines in the dirt near the car. Not words. A circle, maybe. A tripod knocked over. Tova's backpack had a pocket missing. Her small pocket knife was gone. Rafe kept saying, "We are fine." He seemed to need it true. We decided to leave at dawn. Olden walked by with a mug and asked, "Leaving so soon?" He smiled like a man who already knew. Rafe avoided his eyes. We left. On the highway near Denver, the tire hissed. In the day, the scratch on the car looked worse. Rafe said he saw a small O carved in the paint. I tried to laugh. It felt weak. We called a tow. The driver asked where we had been. I said, "Near a trailer by Flagstaff." He said, "You lucky you got out." He did not sound like a joke. Back home in Seattle, we tried to move on. I kept the card signed O in my wallet for days. I took it out and put it back. Then I found a match in my jacket, same type as the pile at the cabin. I crushed it and tossed it. I remember small, dumb things. I left my warm beanie on the bed and wore Rafe's old cap that smelled like gas. Tova lost her favorite pen she uses for notes. We joked about bears and rattlesnakes, but complained about tired feet. Rafe made coffee that tasted like mud. We left plates in the sink because we were too tired to wash them. Later, those little messy things felt like clues. I kept thinking about a sock I could not find and a dent in a tin cup we used by the fire. They only make sense later sometimes. I don't know why he did it. Maybe lonely. Maybe he thought he was protecting land. Maybe control. Maybe worse. We did not make a proper police report. What would we say? A man baked bread, then moved our chairs and wiped our pictures? Who would listen? Sometimes at night, I dream the radio clicking on. I wake and check the door. I do not go camping anymore. Cabin ads on Instagram look different to me. The place did not explode or burn. Nothing cinematic happened. But someone decided small things we could keep. That slow taking felt worse than any loud act. If you find a no-frills cabin near a trail and a neighbor with a weathered trailer, be careful. Take pictures of everything. Lock your car and keep the key on you. If a chair is moved, move it back. If a note slips under the door, toss it or tell someone. Do not be polite when it does not feel right. One dumb thought I had in a parking lot after we left. When I saw the scratch up close, I muttered, "You motherfucker," like saying it would fix anything. It did not. I still think about the matches and that small card. I don't know if he thought he was helping. I only know he kept things from us step by step, and small things can take you apart.